All right, today I'm going to tell you two stories, both of which I was down to nothing. Nobody was coming to save me. But I'm going to talk about how I flipped those moments into feeling more alive and more motivated than I've ever felt in my life. Let's get started here. 8th grade, get a call from the principal's office, come in the office. Hey, Justin, no basketball practice today, go straight home. Really weird scenario. I made sure I played sports most all the time so I didn't have to go home. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I get off the school bus and we lived kind of in the middle of the woods in this old raggedy ass, half trailer, half house, smell like mold scenario. And that particular day, all I can see kind of through the woods and the trees is smoke, and I can smell it. And I walk down the driveway and the house that we lived in is absolutely burned, slapped to the ground. And it's funny now, I guess, but when the fire truck came down the driveway to try to save the house, it ran over our dog. What I remember most about that day was that the only thing that I owned in the entire world was my backpack and the Walmart school uniform clothes that I had on. Everything else was in that house. All my karate tournament fighting trophies, all my baseball cards, all my baseball trophies, all my basketball trophies, any football trophies, anything I had that was valuable to me in the world was burnt and gone in that house. And I think it's a really important point to make that things are always going to happen in your life on your journey. But there's a way that I chose to flip it and have always chose to flip situations in my life. We're all starring in the star role in our own movie of our life. We're all playing the hero. And no movie that you ever watch will ever have a hero go start to finish without adversity. So what I did in that moment is think about myself as a hero, the guy in the movie that had nothing, that was about to overcome everything. And it's really important that you do this in your life, because no matter how high you get up the ladder, you're going to have things that crash into you. And you can choose to sit in them and feel sorry for yourself, but because nobody's coming, it doesn't make rational sense to do it. What you can do is take that same event, repackage it as something that happened to you, the hero in your own movie, your own play, your own journey, and use it to benefit you in a positive way of something that inspires you because you were able to overcome it. So let me take you to the second story. Fast forward 20 years. 35, I just had a crazy night of drinking in Ukraine, and I go home with some other friends that live high in an apartment building. I go downstairs. I don't know where I am. Those friends were very new to me. I wasn't even really that close with them. I just ended up in their Uber. And my phone dies. So here I am in what is clearly the bad side of town in Odessa, Ukraine. I don't speak the language. I have no cell phone. I have no way to communicate and no way to read the signs. I'm absolutely fucked. And I have to say, in that moment, instead of feeling stressed, instead of feeling anxious or like a victim, I honestly felt more alive than I'd felt in a very long time. You see, I knew that it was on me, that I was in that moment that I was in 8th grade, where I had nothing but the clothes on my back. And that's one of the most invigorating feelings that I've felt in my adult life. And I absolutely will never forget that day. So with those things in mind, this is what I did. The evening before, I was actually sitting across a table from Andrew Tate, and I was watching the sun go down over his shoulder I had that vision of the sun going down in the west over his shoulder, saw where the sun was rising in the east, and knew that I had to walk west because that's where the mansion of the Airbnb we were staying in was. And that walk was about 4 miles. The only difference was this time, instead of having the Walmart clothes on, I had about $25,000 worth of clothes on. I had a brand new custom suit, a Rolex, custom shirt, Magnati shoes, but the feeling was absolutely the same. I had nothing but the clothes on my back and a story that I'll never forget. Walking home through a very bad neighborhood in Odessa and really feeling like I was able to trust myself once again by just calming down, figuring out where the sun came from, thinking back to the day before, and getting back to the room. Everybody had been calling my phone. I'd been gone for hours. I showed up. My feet were bleeding a little bit. Other than that, I was good to go. But I'll tell you, it was probably one of my most enjoyable parts of my trip to Europe this past year. It was being by myself with my back against the ropes, knowing that only I could come to save myself. When you can start to take things that happen in your life and change them from a negative victim scenario to I can't wait to prove to myself and others who I can be under pressure, and everybody gets to see it. You can have trust in yourself, and when you trust yourself, you love yourself, and when you love yourself, it comes off of you, and others have to do nothing but get in line. I hope this story makes sense, and I'll see you in the next one.